Good morning, student. Once again, I welcome you all for yet another class of insurance management. In today's class, we'll be discussing about the principles of insurance. Before moving on to the principles of insurance, let us discuss about what is insurance. Insurance is a device which helps us to protect from the loss which might arise in the future because of certain uncertainties, maybe because of uncertain death, maybe because of prolonged illness, maybe because of an accident, or any kind of uncertain events might put us in financial loss. With the help of insurance, we will be capable of overcoming this loss to some extent. It will help us to bring back to the same level. I mean, it will help us in our own personal life. Similarly, it is also helpful for the business people also. Businessmen also at times may have to face financial losses because of several reasons. There might be certain fire accidents, incidents in their shop, which might cause damage to the goods which have been kept in their godown or in the business, which might in turn put them in financial losses. So if there is insurance, they can protect themselves from these financial losses, or they can recover the money whichever they have incurred as loss from the insurance company. So that way they can save themselves from the financial losses. Then farmers can also take up crop insurance and protect themselves against the losses caused to the crops because of either famine, flood, or any other natural calamities. They can also take up insurance in order to protect the livestock, the cattle, sheep, what they have with them. So in case if sudden death is there or any illness is caused and if they die, they can they can recover that amount from the insurance company. Similarly, when a businessman is sending his goods from one place to other places, he might incur certain losses because of accidents which might have caused during the time of transit. To overcome those losses also, we can take up an insurance policy, and insurance policy will help us to overcome all such kind of losses, financial losses which we may face in the future, which are uncertain to happen. When we talk about insurance is of two types. One is life insurance and the other is general insurance. Life insurance is an insurance taken up on the life of an individual. It helps us to protect from the financial losses that is caused by the uncertain death of a family member. So it helps the dependent of the insured to stabilize themselves, or it will help the dependents to get some financial help if he is the only bread earner of the family. Then general insurance is applicable to, as we discussed, crop insurance, business insurance taken up by a businessman, fire insurance, marine insurance. All these insurances are called as general insurance. Life insurance is a contract of assurance, whereas general insurance is a contract of indemnity. Why is life insurance called as contract of assurance? In life insurance, whenever we take up a life insurance policy, there is a assurance or a guarantee that the sum insured, what we have sum insured is mentioned in the policy document, that will be paid to us on the happening of an event. The event might be either death or it might be expiry of the period, whichever is early. But it is sure that we will get the sum assured provided we continue to pay the premium. Therefore, it is said that it is a contract of assurance, whereas all the general insurance contracts are contract of indemnity. According to the contract of indemnity, only the actual loss will be paid and nothing more than that. The intention behind the principle of indemnity is to see that the insured does not make any profit out of the insurance claim. So that is the intention. That is why only principle of indemnity comes into existence. So now I hope you have understood what is insurance. Now let us discuss the principles of insurance. Both be it life insurance or general insurance, there are certain principles which have to be followed. Okay, so in detail, let us study those. There are basically 7 principles of insurance. The first among them is the principle of utmost good faith. So let us discuss what does principle of utmost good faith say. According to the principle of utmost good faith, both the parties, that is the insured and the insurer, should have a good faith towards each other. The insurer must provide the insured complete, correct, and clear information of the subject matter. The insurer must provide the insured complete, correct, clear, and information regarding terms and conditions of the contract. So first is he has to provide information, complete, correct, and clear information regarding the subject matter. Similarly, the insurer must provide the insured complete, correct, and clear information regarding the terms and condition of the contract. This principle is applicable to all the contract of insurance, life insurance as well as fire and marine insurance. So in other words, at principle of utmost good faith states that both the parties must disclose all the material facts related to the subject matter at the time of entering into the contract. So let us discuss a case study related to this one. Now here there is Mr. Gagan who took an insurance policy on his life. While taking the insurance policy, he did not reveal that he was suffering from cancer. He died due to cancer. His dependent, that is his wife, made a claim with the insurance company, but the insurance company rejected the claim. Explain the reason for rejection of claim. Explain the principle which governs the above case. So here, what has happened here, why the insurance company has rejected the claim? The insurance company has rejected the claim because Mr. Gagan, in spite of knowing that he is suffering from cancer, did not reveal that he was suffering from cancer. He hid the information from the insurer. So therefore, what will happen? The contract is void. And which principle is applicable here? The principle of utmost good faith is applicable in this particular situation. So I hope you understood what is principle of utmost good faith. What are the facts that has to be disclosed by both the insurer and the insured at the time of entering the contract. If any one of them hide any information related to the subject matter with each other, then the insurance contract is said to be void or nil. Then second principle of insurance is insurable interest. Insurable interest means that the person opting for insurance must have a pecuniary interest in the property. He is going to get insured and will suffer financial losses on the occurrence of the insured event. This is one of the essential requirements of any insurance contract. Therefore, a person can go for insurance of only those property where he stands to benefit by the safety of the property, and he will suffer loss, damage, injury if any harm takes place to such property. So in simple terms, if you're going to understand about insurable interest, it is insurable interest means it is a pecuniary interest in the property which is to be insured. So let us discuss a case related to the insurable interest. Mr. X enters into a contract to build a godown for Y for rupees 50,000. Mr. Y supplies all the material for construction to Mr. X. Can Mr. X insure the material supplied for the period of construction? Now, what's the answer for that? Yes, Mr. X can insure the material supplied by Mr. Y for the period of construction, because Mr. X has insurable interest in the material supplied by Mr. Y. That means what? Principle of insurance is principle of insurable interest can be applied as Mr. X is likely to gain on the existence of the material and the loss by its destruction. So therefore, Mr. X has got insurable interest in the material supplied by Mr. Y. So moving on to the next principle, that is principle of indemnity. According to the principle of indemnity, or what does it say? Indemnity means guarantee or assurance to put the insured in the same position in which he was immediately prior to the happening of the uncertain event. The insurer undertakes to make the make good the loss. It is applicable to fire, marine, and other general insurance. Under this, the insurer agrees to compensate the insured for the actual loss suffered. Now, here, what you should remember is principle of insurable interest, principle of utmost good faith. Only these two principles are applicable to life insurance. Along with these two, that is principle of utmost good faith, principle of insurable interest, and the rest all other type of insurance are applicable to fire and marine and general insurance. So according to the principle of indemnity, only the actual loss will be paid and nothing more than that. So let's discuss this case here. Mr. Gopal took a fire insurance policy of rupees 10 lakh on the property of rupees 30 lakhs. If there is a fire in the premise of the insured causing a loss to the extent of rupees 80,000, he will be compensated with rupees 80,000. But if there is a second fire in the premise and the entire property is burnt, how much amount the insured can claim on account of second fire? Now here, if you see the first paragraph, the insurance policy is taken up for the amount of rupees 10 lakhs. We'll make it as 1 lakh, consider it as 1 lakh. The insurance policy is taken for an amount of 1 lakh. The loss is to the extent of 80,000. Since it is a general insurance, it is a fire insurance, uh, principle of indemnity comes into existence. So according to the principle of indemnity, only the actual loss will be paid. Here the loss is how much? 80,000. So only 80,000 will be paid to him. Further, the question they ask is, if there is second fire, how much will he get? Suppose if there is second fire and that also is incurred a loss of rupees 80,000, in such situation only 20,000 will be paid to him. That is the maximum limit of the policy amount. Policy is of 1 lakh, in which first fire the insurance company already paid 80,000. Now in the second fire, loss is again 80,000, but now they will be only paying the remaining 20,000 because already they have paid the 80,000. So this principle is applicable to this case. Okay, so we'll move on to the next principle. The next principle is principle of subrogation. As per this principle, after the insured is compensated for the loss due to damage to property insured, the right of ownership of such property passes to the insurer. This principle is corollary of the principle of indemnity and is applicable to all contracts of indemnity. According to the principle of subrogation, when the insured is compensated for the losses due to damage to his insured property, then the ownership right of such property shifts to the insurer. This means what? Once the insurance company pays the loss to the insured, the right on the property goes to the insurer. There is another part to this principle, that is, once the insurance company compensates the loss, it if the loss is occurred because of the damage caused by a third party. This comes into existence only when like third party is involved. If there is any third party is responsible for the damage or the loss to the insured, in such case the insured will claim the amount from the insurance company, no doubt. But the insurance company will have all the right to claim the amount from the third party which has caused the loss to the insured. So let us discuss this case with an example, this principle with an example. Mr. Arun's goods in a warehouse were insured against fire with Bharat Insurance Company. The goods were burnt and Arun recovered the full value from the insurance company. Subsequently, Arun also sued the warehouse keeper and recovered a sum of rupees 10 lakh from him. Can Arun retain this money? So here if you see the case, Mr. Arun has a warehouse in which he has kept the goods costing rupees 10 lakhs, and he has made his warehouse keeper responsible to take care of the goods. There was a fire in the warehouse and the goods were burnt. So what did he do? Since he had an insurance policy, he claimed the loss of rupees 10 lakh from the insurance. Along with that, he also sued his warehouse keeper, and from him also he has recovered a sum of rupees 10 lakhs. Now it is altogether 20 lakh rupees with him. The question is, can Arun retain this money? No, Mr. Arun cannot retain such money because he cannot make profit out of insurance. Then what will happen to the 10 lakhs which he has received from the warehouse keeper? The money what he has received from his warehouse keeper has to be returned to the insurance company. Okay, so let's see the answer. No, Arun cannot retain the money received from the warehouse keeper because he has been already compensated by the insurance company. According to the principle of subrogation, the insurance company has the right to sue the warehouse keeper and retain the money received from him. So it is clear here in this case that the insurance company, after compensating the insured, it has all the right to sue the third party and recover the money from them. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, that is principle of cause proxima. According to the principle of cause proxima, compensation will only be paid if the risk that is covered in the policy occurs. For example, if the insurance policy states that the house is covered for fire and theft, and there is theft, and it is totally or partially destroyed by a flood, no compensation will be paid. That means what? If a house is insured for fire or theft and the house is destroyed by flood, then that there will be no compensation paid. Why? Because the cause for which it has been insured, it is not the reason for the loss. So therefore, there will not be any compensation paid. There is one case related to this one. Mr. Raymond insures his ship against perils of the sea for rupees 5 lakhs. The ship is burnt and the loss estimated is 2 lakhs. When Mr. Raymond asks for claim, the insurance company denies the claim. Explain the reason for denial of the claim. Now here when you read the case, you'll come to know that the ship is insured for what? It is insured for perils of the sea. But the loss is occurred because of the fire on the ship. So perils of the sea is a different case, fire on the ship is a different case. So therefore, compensation will not be paid. So explain the reason for denial of the claim. This is the case of marine insurance, where the insurance was taken on the ship against perils of the sea, but the ship was burnt partially. So the company denied the claim because the ship is insured against the perils of the sea, and the reason for the loss does not match with the actual accident. So reason for which it has been insured and the actual reason for the accident does not match, so therefore money will not be paid. Which principle is applicable under this case? The principle of cause proxima is applicable. So according to the principle of cause proxima, the insured will get the compensation only when the cause is mentioned in the policy. The cause of loss must be the same to the risk mentioned in the policy. So next principle, let us move on to the next principle, that is the principle of contribution. According to this principle, the insured can claim the compensation only to the extent of actual loss, either from all insurers or from any one insurer. If one insurer pays full compensation, then that insurer can claim proportionate claim from other insurers. Example, Mr. A insures his property worth rupees 1 lakh with two insurers, AIG Limited for 90,000 and MetLife Limited for 60,000. A's actual property destroyed is worth rupees 60,000. Then Mr. A can claim the full loss of rupees 60,000 either from AIG Limited or MetLife Limited, or he can claim 36,000 from AIG Limited and 24,000 from MetLife Limited. How is that calculation done? We can see in this particular case here. Mr. Sunil insured his bike with two insurers, and NIA and NIA and GIC. Okay, the bike is partially damaged on account of an accident. The value of the loss is 30,000. What is the liability of two companies and why? And explain the principle under which the above example has to be dealt. The formula to calculate the compensation is sum insured under each policy divided by total sum insured under all policy into loss. Sum insured under each policy with the NIA to rupees 20,000 divided by 60,000 into actual losses 30,000. So NIA share is 10,000. GIC Limited has been insured with rupees 40,000. Total sum insured under both the policy is 60,000 into actual loss is 30,000. So total amount comes to 20,000, right? So 10,000, 20,000 has to be paid by NIA and GIC. So I hope you are clear with the formula, how to apply the formula and calculate the proportion of both the insurers. Then principle of contribution is applicable to the double insurance. Whenever there is double insurance, principle of contribution comes into existence. According to this principle, the loss is shared among the insurers in a specified ratio. Then the last principle of insurance is principle of mitigation of loss. According to the principle of mitigation of loss, the insured must give his 100% to save his property and not just sit and watch destruction of his property. Although his property is insured, his effort should be there to minimize the losses. It means what? The insured has to take all the measures to protect the property from getting lost or from being destroyed. Just because he has taken up insurance policy on the property, he should not allow it to be destroyed. He should try, make some efforts to protect the property from further damage. Suppose if a person has taken up an insurance policy on fire insurance policy on his house, the house catches fire, he should not think that, okay, I have taken up insurance policy, they will pay the money, with that money I can construct a new house, so let this old house be burned. That is not uh, legal. So what he should do, he should call the fire brigade, or with the help of his neighbors or friends, he should try to extinguish the fire before the fire brigade comes. So that is mitigation of loss. Mitigation of loss means take all the necessary actions to minimize the losses. So with this, I conclude the principles of insurance, and along with that, I have also solved the cases or how to solve the cases based on the principles of insurance. So thank you.